the government, in consultation with the Reserve Bank of India, has amended rules under the Foreign Exchange Management Act, bringing in international credit card spends outside India under the liberalized remittance scheme. So while this notification brings transactions through credit cards outside India under the ambit of RBI's remittance scheme with immediate effect, we have an expert joining us to break down the details and really simplify this for you and me. Thank you, Mr. Ravi Sutanjani, for joining us. And of course, a lot of curious travelers have been reaching out to us. They have been reaching out to us with a number of questions. And the number one question really is, what will be the rate of tax collected at source?
Thanks for having me, Sakshi. Pleasure to be at NDTV. So, it's going to be 20% from July 1 onwards, and currently Forex cards, bank, debit card, all of these comes under the ambit of LRS. With the recent development, now credit card transactions too will be part of LRS, right? So, as per the current notification, the rates would be 5% till June 30th. And after that, it would be 20% on any transaction that you make international. While traveling internationally, yeah.
All right. Of course, a lot of viewers also asking, so will they have to now pay more for their travel or hotel bookings, their meals, also while shopping abroad? Does that get costlier now?
So one thing we'll have to specifically understand that there is a difference between tax and TCS, right? So TCS is generally charged by the seller for a service or your bank when you make a transaction, and they pay the liability on your behalf to the government. You can claim that amount while filing your return. You can adjust against your, advanced tax. So it's not precisely a tax, but it's more of a compliance measure to make sure that, more and more people file their taxes. So obviously your cost would become significantly higher because let's take an example, right? So the current package for a overseas travel may cost like 5 lakh rupees. With 20% TCS, you need to pay additional 1 lakh rupees on top of it. And that additional 1 lakh rupees, you can only claim it back while filing your income tax returns as per your tax liability, Sakshi.
Right. Also, many asking, what if they're traveling for work? So how does this impact them as, in terms of their costs, their expenses, if their company sends them, and, what gets costlier then?
So I think we also need to wait for certain fine prints from the government's end. There are two use case scenario basically. So one is where people travel internationally for work and they use their personal credit card or maybe their bank account and they get it reimbursed later from their company, right? But in a couple of cases, they also use corporate credit card. So we need to wait for the fine prints. But for sure, one thing is clear that if you are traveling abroad and you are using your personal credit card, debit card, Forex card, it will fall under the LRS purview and the applicable tax TCS will be deducted from the bank or credit card company itself, Sakshi.
Right. And a very important question coming in from, of course, a lot of concerned parents and for paying for education expenses for their children abroad. So, do the costs get expensive there? And of course, does medical expenditure also get impacted?
So a very important thing to understand for the purpose of education and also, medical treatment, there is no change in the proposal whatsoever. So even if you get educational loan, the TCS rate, if it's 0.5%, it's going to be the same. And there is no proposal to change it in the current financial year. Same goes for medical treatment, right? So they are not at all impacted. However, if you use your credit card internationally for these purposes, you need to be slightly cautious whether what is the category of merchant. So medical and education is not impacted at all currently. But beyond that, if there is any transaction related to travel, your hotel, when you even go for a coffee and when you swipe your credit card or maybe Forex card, it will be liable for 20% TCS from July 1 onwards.
Right. So that's a very important clarification there that medical and education really do not get impacted as of now. Of course, shopping and meals out do. Also, many asking us, what if, they're signing on to some subscriptions, shopping, somebody sitting in India shopping online abroad. How does all of that get impacted?
So while I was reading the circular and we were also speaking to a couple of folks in the finance and business community, I think this is one area where we need to wait for more clarity from the finance ministry or government's end. So, say I am making a transaction in the international currency, but I am not traveling to that particular country, right? I may be not be traveling to US, but I am making the transaction in USD and not INR. Will I be paying 20% TCS? I think before commenting on that, I think we should wait for the further clarity. I think by EOD or maybe by tomorrow, we'll be in better position to comment on that.
Right. Further clarity, of course, awaited on a move such as this. Many, of course, also concerned and saying, should they now switch to using more cash? How will that help them?
So I think a lot of concerns for so, if you check the number for last year, Indians spent over like $12 billion on overseas travel, right? And I'm talking about not every one of them were under the purview of LRS. Now talking about alternates, I think a lot of people would definitely want to move to other alternates. Say they would want to buy Forex or USD in India for their foreign travels, but it also comes with certain limit that how much maximum amount you can keep as USD for your next international travel. So it's around, I think, $3,000. Obviously, if there are different purposes, the amount gets increased. So you need to check with the bank and read the circulars on that. But I think even if you buy foreign currency in India, it is already under the purview of LRS. So this doesn't make really significant change. I think there is a lot of noise around, right? So one thing we have to understand is that a bank account, debit card, Forex were already under the purview of LRS. But now credit cards are also included so that more such high value transactions and people fall under the tax net. Sakshi.
Right. Thank you for that clarification. Does it then apply to travel cards as also? There are many who are, of course, planning their holidays asking now.
Two ways to look at it. So if I go to my favorite bank, I think I just checked with my bank and they said that 20% TCS would be applied to Forex card as well. So say if I want to take $10,000, if I want to load it on my Forex card, so I go to my bank, give them travel details, passport and everything, and they'll load 10,000 USD. But that will fall under the purview of LRS as per the confirmation that I have received from bank. But people are always advisable to check with your respective bank for Forex card and what kind of policies are there with them.
Right. And how does one really claim this on their tax later? That's another very key question being asked.
So as I said earlier, right, TCS is the tax collected at source. So your bank collects the tax TCS on behalf of you, and you can claim it when you file your ITR at the end of the financial year.